Funding for the production of Public Square provided by the W.K. Kellogg Foundation, working to improve the lives of vulnerable children.
This program is part of American Graduate. Let's make it happen. A public media initiative made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
When we have such a poor state and we don't have family-friendly policies, we just work to keep the poor people poor.
Employers want to do the right stuff, and sometimes they're doing something with no intention at all of hurting families, but they do that.
Just hearing that from them without any sort of concern or really care from their voice, it really just turned me, and I seeked out another job.
Well, we're talking about a lot of different things that really allow people to have a dignified standard of living and the ability to manage work and family.
We find that 46% of the women who are in the workplace are pregnant or are planning to give birth at some point in time during the period that they are working. So yes, we do need protections for them.
Are we looking at the well-being of the next generation? What is the legacy that I'm going to leave as an employer, as somebody that does business in New Mexico? I think that's the big question.
So if we don't manage to do these things, what does that mean for our kids and our families? Welcome to Public Square, where civic dialogue takes center stage.
Rapid, massive economic change had really undermined families' ability to nurture. And we, are constantly in conflict between those demands of the workplace and our demands at home. And when families are under that kind of stress, nobody gets what they need.
Balancing the demands of work, education, and family is a struggle. It can take a toll on people's health, but also on the health of their children and families. Around 64% of mothers with children under age 6 work, according to federal statistics. In 40% of households with children, women are now the sole or primary breadwinners. Yet many employers haven't shifted policies to reflect those changes, and the United States is the only developed country without paid maternity or parental leave for workers. There's the Federal Family Medical Leave Act, which gives caregivers the right to take time off unpaid, but that only covers about 60% of American workers, many of whom can't afford to miss a paycheck. A number of studies have found that policies like maternity and paternity leave, lactation programs, child care and elder care, and flexible scheduling have positive impacts on the health and economic stability of employees and families. For employers, such policies often correspond with increased sales and higher productivity. They also lower costs by reducing absenteeism, turnover, and health-related expenses. This looks like a way for everyone to benefit in New Mexico, especially when we consider our low rankings for child well-being and economic development. So why aren't we doing more? Tonight on Public Square, we talk about family-friendly workplace policies and the impacts on children and families. We'll speak with employers and employees, policy experts and advocates. Then we discuss ways to expand those opportunities with Giovanna Rossi of Collective Action Strategies, Danny Jarrett, a labor law attorney who serves on the board of the Association of Commerce and Industry, and Santa Fe City Councilor Carmichael Dominguez. Before we get started, here's more information on our topic.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Okay, take those feet. I'm an esthetician, so I mainly do skincare stuff. I work in the beauty industry, waxing and eyelashes and stuff like that.
You doing good? Do you have a choice about whether you want to work or not?
No, I don't have a choice to not work. I don't get child support from my son's father, so it's just me, and I'm responsible for everything.
So what happens if you're sick or if Bexley is sick?
If I'm sick, I just go to work. If I don't go, I don't get paid. If I don't have a client that I'm working on, then, I'm not making money and neither is the business. So there's very few circumstances that I would actually call in sick to work. I would have to be really, really sick. As far as Bexley, that's really, I guess, what I save up those 1 or 2 days a year that it would be acceptable for me to call into work, you know, in case he's really sick or he has to go to the doctor. But many times I've just gambled it and sent him to school with some cold medicine or whatever and crossed my fingers that he stays away from the other kids.
And what was it like when you were pregnant and right after you gave birth?
A week or so after he was born, I was already being pressured to come back to work. I knew that my boss had gotten somebody else to fill in for me, and I was worried about losing my clients. So I brought him to work with me when he was 2.5 weeks old and just sort of hold him and work on my client, or sometimes I got lucky and my client wanted to hold the baby. But for the first 5.5 months, I was constantly juggling a baby at work, and you know, that was pretty difficult, but I just couldn't afford to take time off.
And in terms of breastfeeding, were you able to do that at work or pump at work?
Yeah, I breastfed and pumped, and there were quite a few times where I was breastfeeding and working on my client simultaneously. My boss was pretty understanding about the whole breastfeeding thing, but you know, it was always sort of a tug of war between working on my client and sitting alone to pump or whatever. It was difficult to juggle all three things. Yeah, I didn't get to breastfeed my son as long as I wanted to.
What is it like not being able to spend time with him when he's sick or when there's an emergency of some kind?
It just breaks my heart. I don't like having to choose between money or my kid, and I wish I could be with him when he's sick, and you know, it's kind of heart-wrenching. A couple of months ago he was sick and I had to take him to school because it was the week before Christmas and we were too busy. I couldn't call in. It made me feel like a bad mom. And I'm not a bad mom, so it's just hard.
What kind of society do we want to have? Do we want to have a society in which everybody's on their own with regard to their family obligations, or do we want a society in which everybody thinks about how they have a stake in other people's children and other people's families? That's what makes for a healthy society, and that's why family-friendly workplace policies are so important and so needed.
Families are so occupied in the workforce, if we don't change the dynamic there, the well-being of families is severely compromised.
I wanted to come speak about family-friendly workplaces because my past experiences has been that the happier you can be at work, the happier your family can be from your work, the more productive you can be, so the more productive your company can be.
I hope that today's discussion will help employers recognize that simple steps can be taken to support breastfeeding employees, that simple policies put in place will help moms reach their breastfeeding goals so that moms are healthier and babies are healthier and we have a healthier New Mexico.
No success at work is worth failure at home, and we need policies and practices in place that support that.